Hello Summoners, Matthew from the Nintendo Treehouse here with some quick tips for the Fire Emblem Heroes game. The collaboration in Fire Emblem Heroes with characters featured in Fire Emblem Three Houses for the Nintendo Switch system continues with a new summoning focus. I'd like to introduce the next set of newly added heroes and give everyone a few tips for using them. First up is Hubert from the Black Eagles. Hubert is the heir to the Marquis Vestra, the minister of the imperial household of the Adrestrian Empire, and Edelgard's loyal servant. He's an outstanding student known for his keen intellect, but also for being cold, clinical, and calculating. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Hubert is a vicious offensive attacker that has the skills necessary to give himself and his allies advantages over his foes. Hubert has a high base attack, and his weapon Rotherfox Plus inflicts a -4 on all of his foes' stats when he initiates combat. It is also an inheritable weapon. However, Hubert can give his allies a boost that could potentially be even deadlier with Infantry Hexblade 3. With this C skill, Hubert not only gives infantry allies using physical weapons next to him a +2 boost in their attack and speed, but also gives them an effect that will calculate damage based on the lower stat of defense or resistance. I suggest putting infantry units with physical weapons and high attack like Dorcas and brave bow users like Klein on his team. In combination with Chill Res 3, Hubert and his allies always have a foe on the map with low resistance to target with Rotherfox and Hexblade's effects. High defense won't be able to save them. For his seal, I recommend Darting Blow to increase his chance of doing a follow-up attack when he initiates battle. Also from the Black Eagles is Petra. She is a princess of a vassal state of the Empire, so her spoken language skills aren't perfect. Don't let that fool you, however. She's extremely smart, hardworking, and making the most of her situation by seizing the opportunity to study at Garrick Mach Monastery for the sake of her country. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Petra shines brightest when surrounded by strong allies. Her A skill, Attack Speed Form, increases her attack and speed up to +7 depending on how many allies are within 2 spaces of her. Her weapon, Hunting Blade, is effective against beasts and gives her a +5 boost to any stat that an ally is higher in within 2 spaces. Petra can get a +5 in every stat with only one ally if someone with high stats like Byleth, Proven Professor, is standing near her. Her B and C skills will also greatly expand your team's movement options on the battlefield. Since she needs to stay close to her allies to shine, and her Ground Order skill only works with other movement types, I might suggest giving her a tactic type seal, like Attack Tactic, to expand the advantages of keeping the team close together on the battlefield. Moving on to the Blue Lions, we have Mercedes. Born to a noble family of the Empire whose fortunes declined, she ended up a commoner in the kingdom and was taken in by the Church of Seros. Despite her past, Mercedes is a peaceful and pious soul who can't help but aid those in need. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Mercedes is a healer with fairly high attack and resistance. Her C skill, Odd Res Wave, further increases her res on odd turns, and, to complement it, I would suggest giving her the Even Res Wave seal so that she can function as a magic tank. If she counters an attack, the effects of Gravity Plus will slow the enemy down as well. Also, when defending an Aether Raids, she can increase her speed and resistance during combat based on the number of defensive structures.
I'm ready.
Sending her out with Dimitri to manage his HP might not be a bad idea either. Finally, we have Hilda from the Golden Deer. Hilda is from a noble family in the Leicester Alliance. She grew up being spoiled by her father and older brother, so she can be a bit lazy. Don't let her habit of convincing people to do absolutely everything for her fool you though. She's a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Hilda's weapon Freikugel is extremely unique because its effects change depending on the situation. Other than granting +3 speed, if she's within 2 spaces of any allies with better defense than hers, she grants those allies +4 to their attack and speed. However, if there are no allies within 2 spaces with a higher defense than hers, she will gain a +6 to her attack and speed. If you plan your positioning well, you can even reap both benefits of this weapon in a single turn. For example, have Hilda set out alone for an attack to start the turn, and then have her allies move near her for their own attacks. When you're on the defense, have her stand behind strong defensive units and they will be able to defend her better. Her C skill further increases the defense of the strongest defensive unit on your team every turn. Like her classmate Claude, Hilda is a versatile character. so the seal you use on her should depend on your strategy. Personally, with Hilda's high speed, I might consider the Flashing Blade seal so that she can trigger her special, Moonbow, in most rounds of combat. Although they have their quirks, these new characters from the Fire Emblem Three Houses game bring their own skills and personalities to Fire Emblem Heroes. And don't forget, you can receive Byleth, Tested Professor, for Fire Emblem Heroes when purchasing Fire Emblem Three Houses. Please note that he has a different skill set compared to his female counterpart, Byleth, Proven Professor. For details, check out the website listed in the description of this video. That's all for today, Summoners. Good luck!